So I have made it to the Merrimack River this evening, and let me just say I am highly excited for what I'm doing today. Today I am testing out a crankbait from Megabass that I've never used before, and I've never even seen it before. I saw it the other day for the first time at Bass Pro Shops, and I was like, yeah, I have to pick this up. I personally really love their Vision 110s. I think their Vision 110 jerkbaits are some of the best out there. But the Merrimack River today is actually the lowest I've ever seen it. I don't know if you guys can see out there, but and the water is super low today for whatever reason. They have to be letting out a lot of water at the dam because typically the water is all the way up here, but it's down there. The water is literally about 5 feet lower than it typically is. So in my opinion, if I can find the deep spots, I really think I'll be able to hook into a couple fish today. That's the idea, but anyway, I need to get to stepping. I don't even have the motor or battery on the boat yet. Now, this is the crankbait I'm gonna be using today from Megabass. It's the S-Crank 1.2. The 1.2 just stands for the depth that it dives, and 1.2 meters is basically just 4 feet. Man. I believe the color is E2 Craw. It's just kind of like a fire craw pattern. But look how funny that head looks. It's kind of goofy looking. I got the crankbait tied to 20-pound fluorocarbon on a medium heavy St. Croix Bass X rod, and then I'm going to be using my Shimano SLX DC. But honestly, when you're using a crankbait or anything like that, a crankbait's one of the easiest lures to use. You don't need 20-pound line, you don't need a $100 rod, and you certainly don't need a DC to just throw a crankbait. Really anything will do. Has a super tight wobble to it. But I guess that kind of makes sense because if you look at the sides of the bait, it's relatively flat, so it is going to have that tighter wobble. Which honestly is perfect because it's been real cold up north where I live in New Hampshire. So I think that tighter action is going to be better for me. This is a floating crankbait, which at this particular spot I'm okay with. Typically I like suspending crankbaits and jerkbaits, but in this particular spot it's so shallow that if I'm getting snagged up down in those rocks, I can just stop reeling and it'll just float over top of those rocks. One thing that's nice about this crankbait is when I reel it back to me, it comes in straight. I don't have to tune it at all or anything like that. And for a $19 crankbait, honestly, that's what I expect. Once I get out onto the water, I don't want to be taking the time to have to tune the bait. I just want to get to the water and fish. So that's certainly a plus for me. Come on. He's swimming at me. I don't know why my drag was so loose. I don't know what the deal with that was, but man, what a nice smallmouth. First smallmouth today, finally. There we go, first smallmouth today. He is freezing cold on that crankbait. But pretty good, 2-pounder. Well, so far, not so good with the Megabass crankbait. Now, to be fair, the water is down like 5 feet than normal and the water temp is only 40 degrees. So I have a couple things working against me tonight, but I really thought I'd be hooking into at least a couple more fish than just that one today. But I've been banging this crankbait up against the rocks all day today, and there's one chip right there. The bill's still in pretty good shape. So the durability of this crankbait, honestly, I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with. And for a $19 crankbait, it shouldn't have durability issues in my opinion. This is also a silent crankbait. No rattles in it, and I specifically chose one with no rattles in it because the water here is pretty clear. So I kind of wanted to give a natural kind of look for the fish. Now, if the water was a little bit more dirty, then I'd go with rattles. But anyway, I only have about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes left of light today. So hopefully I can at least hook into one more fish before I have to go this evening. Could use this. Fish. Little smallie. Don't jump, I need you in the boat. Yes. Fine. I was beginning to think I wasn't going to catch another one. Man, the smallie smells like that sewer plant. Oh. Man, those hooks are sticky sharp. Alright, I actually caught a second fish. I was beginning to think I was going to catch another one. So that is it for tonight, guys. And I did have a kind of an kind of night. I did manage to catch 2 fish, but the water is just so cold up north where I live. I shouldn't really expect to catch much more than that now. This is the first time I've ever used this crankbait before from Megabass, and honestly, I liked it. For $19, it seemed pretty durable. I didn't have to change out the hooks. It ran straight. But honestly, I'm kind of biased. Megabass is one of my favorite fishing companies. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Peace.